We all understand the importance of having plenty of clean water to drink and use in our everyday lives. On today's edition of Spotlight on Bowling Green, we'll take an interesting journey to find out where our precious resource comes from and what we can do to help keep our water clean.
Bowling Green's Department of Public Works is working hard to develop a plan to be in compliance with the Federal Clean Water Act.
My role as city engineer has several facets, looking at development and the impacts, making sure that the development goes in a proper sense, looking at public infrastructure and managing capital improvement projects. Clean Water Act really goes back to the late 60s with federal regulations, with amendments and revisions to those earlier acts. The Clean Water Act came out of that. The initial focus of this act was to look at point source discharges such as industrial and wastewater treatment plants. The focus has now broadened to include non-point sources, of which stormwater is one of those.
Developing a comprehensive stormwater management plan has become a priority.
The permit includes 6 minimum control measures. These control measures include public education, public involvement, minimizing construction runoff, eliminating non-stormwater discharges into the system, making sure that the system overall is functioning in an environmental manner.
A key element in the stormwater management plan includes Bowling Green's very own hydrologist.
My role with the city is to help them deal with the stormwater permit that the city is currently under. I'm going to help them map out caves, drainage systems, and work on cleaning up the stormwater that's here in Bowling Green. Part of the plan with our Phase 2 stormwater permit is to help people understand that by eliminating sources of pollutants that get into our stormwater, it'll help the overall quality of the cave system and eventually the water quality at Barren River, where all the stormwater in the city of Bowling Green drains to eventually. Basically, during a rainstorm, anything that can be picked up and transported by stormwater is fed to sinkholes, dry wells, storm sewers, to retention basins, other dry wells, sinkholes, or to, in this case, to a cave system, bypass cave. So anything that's on the street or in the grass, animal waste, cigarette butts, leaves, seeds, beer cans, you can see it right here. It's all laying about us here at Bypass Cave. Well, all this sediment and trash and things that get into the cave, they take up space available for stormwater to get out of to drain through the cave system. That can lead to increased potential for flooding. It obviously impacts the cave environment. There are some critters that live here in the cave that are affected during a storm event by all the trash and pollutants that get into the stormwater. Bypass Cave drains an area of approximately 75 acres in central Bowling Green. Basically, it drains from over by T.C. Cherry School over to Broadway, this side of the Western Hill. All that area in central Bowling Green drains to right here at Bypass Cave. From Bypass Cave, the water flows down through the cave system here for approximately a half mile till it hooks into the main passage of Lost River Cave. Picks it up over on Nashville Road near Lansdale Avenue. And from there it flows to a big spring in Lambkin Park known as the Lost River Rise, one of the largest springs in Kentucky. From Lost River Rise, it flows on the surface about 500 feet, approximately 500 feet, until it converges with Jennings Creek. And Jennings Creek flows on the surface approximately 3.1 miles, where it flows into Barren River, northwest of Hobson Grove Park. Barren River is the source of our drinking water, so anything that falls during a storm event and gets into a sinkhole, a drain well, to Bypass Cave, eventually drains very quickly to Barren River, as the cave streams in Bowling Green travel about the same speed as a surface stream would. See, it's a very quick travel time from the time it enters Bypass Cave here until it gets to Barren River.
What many people don't realize is that storm drains are primarily used to manage the flooding on roadways and to keep it off our roadways. The waste and the water that goes down into the storm drains does not go to a wastewater treatment plant. It goes directly into our rivers and our streams and our lakes. So many of the types of contaminants that we contribute to the storm drains are yard waste, oils, and oftentimes household products.
There are ways we all can minimize stormwater contaminants.
One of the things that they can do as far as their used motor oil They can recycle it. They can take it to auto parts stores, recycling centers in the community. Oftentimes these places will take used motor oil. 1 quart of oil can pollute 250,000 gallons of drinking water, which is basically what could supply a family of 4 for an entire year.
As Bowling Green grows, the Public Works Department is working with developers to comply with the stormwater permit.
My responsibilities will be to go out and check sites to make sure that best management practices are implemented and to make sure that there's not any runoff going off onto another site. Some of the challenges that will be created with new development will be with the new construction going on, where we're building new streets, new buildings, and also where we're removing the vegetation and it's allowing erosion and more high peak runoffs. Some of the solutions to erosion and sediment control are our best management practices, which include waterways, rock structures, rock line ditches, rock line outlets, retention basins, check dams. We also use a silt fence, which is one of the more efficient practices that we use. It filters the water and lets the sediment drop before it gets to our retention basins. It also uses boundaries around project sites to eliminate runoff onto another site. The importance of a retention basin is kind of our last resort of filtering out the water when it gets to the end of the boundary of a project site. Hopefully we've been able to filter our sediment with our BMPs, our silt fences, our check dams, and hopefully that will eliminate the sediment from getting in our retention basins. Because if we let sediment get in our retention basins, it could cause trouble such as stopping up the retention basin to where it won't drain, or it won't hold the 24-hour period of rain that it's designed to hold.
Planning for continued growth, the Public Works Department has developed a long-term plan.
Well, in the future, we have submitted a 5-year permit. So our permit is really in an effort to get ramped up to a full-fledged stormwater program, looking at environmental factors in water quality. Within the 5-year period, there'll be a lot of changes internally in how we do business as the city, how the public can make differences to water quality, as well as contractors and other land use.
As you can see, the Department of Public Works is hard at work to ensure that our water is clean and plentiful, but we all need to do more to keep pollutants out of our stormwater system. As always, we enjoy hearing from you, so if you have any questions or comments about our program, please call City Hall at 393-3137. For Spotlight on Bowling Green from beautiful College Street Bridge, I'm Elaine Walker.